name is Joy D. Fanning, an astronaut of life, and I help people go inward to explore. This video is part of a series called Meditation Stories, where you might hear me share some of my own stories, but the main part is to share other people's experiences because there are so many ways to meditate and so many things that come to us when we meditate. So, without further ado, here's the video.
Yay! Hey, Emma!
Hi.
I'm so excited for this. I love talking with you.
Yeah, I love talking with you too. We're both into all this spirituality and meditation and metaphysics stuff. So it's
Oh yeah.
my jam.
No, it's
Yeah.
totally my jam too. Yeah. Yeah. Now, obviously, I know who you are, but do you mind sharing with my viewers who you are and what you do? Because you do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I am an author and creative entrepreneur. I have published 2 books. So I have Written into Reality and I have Wayfinder. So Wayfinder was a book that I wrote during my dark night of the soul passage after I had a brain injury and then I lost a legal case for the workers' compensation. And then all these doctors just told me, like, there's no chance for you in terms of recovering. Like, take all these pain pills and see what happens. And then I just said no. And then that's when I got into energy healing, and I was invited out to stay with a pranayama breathwork teacher, and I started learning about somatic healing. And then I started to go deeper into the benefits of meditation, mindfulness, the states of consciousness that you can be in, and the frequencies that correlate to the states of consciousness that you can be in. So in that book, I explore all of that and really go through everything that I was experiencing in case anybody else feels like they're in a deep dark hole that they can't get out of. There is a way that you can unlock different states of your consciousness to help you get out of fear mode and gradually get back into a state of thriving. So that's what that book was about. And then Written into Reality. This is about co-creation, which is where you sync up with the forces, the creative forces of the universe to co-create, to really go about your life with intention, and you really co-create your life and your reality as you go along. And then you embody a vibrational frequency of love and receptivity, and then you start calling in the abundance and all this good stuff, and then everything that you need to heal and to thrive. So that's what I go into. I'm also a creative mentor and an intuitive life and business coach. I help people get into personal and business development from a soul-centered perspective, a soul-aligned way. And that way it's sustainable, it's true to you, and it's much easier to keep up with because it's you. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because that's what I'm all about. Like, I know what I offer is unique and it's a little out there and different or something, right? But that's essentially the lessons I'm learning is, Joy, just speak from your passion. And, you don't have to do it the cookie cutter way that's, been set out or that whatever, right? Like, we got you, just be you. And that's your greatest asset, really, right?
Yeah, it's almost like one of those spy movies where we're given a mission and we have to like accomplish that mission. But it's like the universe has given us a mission. So who are we to say, well, it has to be this way, or other people are successful this way? But no, like, you're here, you have a mission, you have a message, you're here to deliver it, you're a conduit, you're a channeler of whatever the heck message the universe has given you, and you're here to bring it out here into the world.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I didn't know you had your brain injury. Was that like in a work thing? Because I actually got a concussion on the job when I worked in mental health. I got attacked and stabbed in the head with a stiletto. Yeah, it took like 3 months to walk in a straight line again. But I was not awakened at the time. So I took all the pills and did the things, right? But they were like, Joy, you can't go back to that job or you will have permanent, if this happens again, it doesn't look good for you, kind of a thing. So I had to kind of step away from that intense, I don't know how you want to call it, field of mental health. Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to talk about it, but was that like a catalyst or something for your awakening?
Yeah. Like, at that time, I just gotten out of college. I'd put myself through college, and I just had this mentality of you have to work hard for everything, you have to earn everything. So my entire life was focused around being dependent on a job for security and survival. And then I was working in the university administration building where I was going to school one day, and somebody had spilled something on the stairs. And I just like completely slipped from the top of the landing all the way down. My neighbor kind of says it's like a cartoon. He doesn't mean it in a mean way, but yeah, the back of my head was thudding on every single concrete ledge on the way down. And that was what that resulted in was something called a diffuse axonal injury, which is brain whiplash. It's when your brain is sloshed against your skull so many times. And that causes micro lesions, tears where the brain tissue is starting to die off and atrophy over time. So from that, I really learned like painkillers will not fix that. It will not heal and repair and regenerate brain tissue. But I had studied psychology and psychobiology for a while, and I knew that neuroplasticity was a thing. There is a way that we can regrow our own brain tissue. There's a way to stimulate neuroplasticity. And I wasn't a stranger to meditation, but this got me really serious about it because I had learned that meditation could definitely stimulate neuroplasticity and also raise certain levels of neurochemicals that can facilitate and speed up healing. Like, for example, endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, melatonin, growth hormones, which helps with cellular repair and renewal. All of those neurochemicals are actually stimulated during meditation. And it's really hard, especially when like my head freaking hurts. I'm in a lot of pain. And like you, I couldn't walk in a straight line. Like if I would try to walk down a hallway, my shoulders would be grazing into the walls. And I couldn't get through a freaking doorway without actually just like walking into like the side of the door frame. And I just felt like such a helpless, terrified person. Like this just threw me into an abyss of helplessness. Like my depth perception was gone. So if I would try to put something on the edge of a table or something, it would just fall to the floor. And so I couldn't really see properly. I couldn't navigate around my world properly. And then I had to figure out like, how can I live like this? Like I can't even cook myself. I tried to make some food or something, and I ended up almost slicing my finger down to the tendon. It was like the scene of Dexter or something. It was like really, really bad. Like I couldn't touch sharp objects anymore. No hot objects. And I had to be really, really careful. I even blanked out and walked into the street a bunch of times and almost got hit. One day I actually did get hit. Thankfully, I was only close enough that I got hit with the car mirror, but I was just like, I can't live like this. Like, I don't know what the heck to do. And that's when I started to really dedicate myself and even just sit through the pain and just sit in meditation. I had the most horrible, debilitating headaches, but I still just sat there because it was all that I could really do. And it was like a forced Vipassana meditation for like 7, almost 8 months of my life, where I could hardly get out of bed. So it would either be lying in bed or I'd just be meditating most of the time. And that just got me to really flush out a lot of the psychic toxins in my body, like the old trauma residue and everything like that, just started surfacing, and I was just helpless to do anything about it. So I just went through that whole process of healing and then uncertainty, because I thought my whole life depended on having a job. And here I was losing out on a workers' comp case. I tried going back into the work world, and then one day I had a seizure in the middle of an intersection, and I was fired that day. I got into work, and my boss was like, "You're late." I'd gotten into the bathroom first before I was facing my boss because like I fell forward because my depth perception went out. I didn't know how far away the ground was, and it made me really dizzy. It felt like I was on the top of the Empire State Building or something. So I fell forward and I skinned both of my hands and my knees. And I just went to the bathroom to clean off the gravel and everything from my hands and to just unstick my pants from like my bloody knees and then try to clean myself up and get back into work. And then my boss just looked at me and she was like, "You're fucking fired." Like, sorry, am I allowed to like cuss on you? Yeah, she basically just like stomped over to the director and just told him like I didn't have my shit together and they fired me. And then I was like, oh crap, here we go again. I need to pay rent. I've got a major health condition. I really need the money. And I was just terrified. So again, I just turned to meditation and silence, and this voice just came through and just said, "Know who you are." And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what is that gonna do for me? Is knowing who I am going to pay my freaking bills? I was just so mad. But then I started to, it was just really uncanny after that. Then I got the call from the pranayama yoga, the breathwork teacher, to come and learn with her for a couple of weeks about somatic healing. She introduced me to somatic experiencing therapy and the work that she does. And then she started introducing me to a community of healers in Long Beach, California, who are doing all kinds of things, Reiki, tarot readers, energy healers of all different kinds. And I started to learn more about that world that I used to be so skeptical of. And she got me started on hemp smoothies. And within 2 weeks, my whole life just like changed and turned around dramatically. Like a neuropsychologist, a neurologist, a nurse, 3 doctors couldn't figure out how the heck to help me turn my life around and get me recovering. But that group of people managed to do what all these physicians weren't able to do. And then that just like turned me into a believer. I was like, okay, all right. that's really how I just got to like waving the white flag and surrendering to my awakening. I was just like, you guys have answers that none of these degree holding people who are like authorities of the medical world have. So I'm just like, all right, like I surrender. This is for real. I accept it. Yeah.
Wow, that is such a powerful story, Emma. That is, I'm so sorry you had to go through all that, but in a way, I'm not, right? Like, because it led to that beautiful awakening. But I totally know what you mean. Like, granted, for me, it was just like for 3 months, but it was very disorienting, and I don't even, it's hard to put into words like how lonely it can feel, and like a loss, because you're like, I know what to do. I know to put the pin on the table, but for whatever reason, it's not working, right? And it's frustrating. So props to you for like going inward for that, because like I said, I just took those pills. I think I like,
Oh, I took them too.
well, yeah, like, and I just would like, I know I like binge watched Bones and like Ancient Aliens and would just zone out, but
Yeah. For me,
um
it was something on PBS. I don't know, like Downton Abbey or something.
yeah, it's so fuzzy, right? Like I can't really tell you much about Bones, even though I binged all of it. Yeah, because and the headaches, man. Oh, and I used to get headaches all the time, and I would go to the fancy doctors, and I don't even know what they're called, like the head doctor, and I literally had one of them tell me it was because I was a woman. I paid $50 to see a man, or this doctor guy, and he told me, well, you have headaches because you're a woman. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, that that's the most stupidest answer I've ever heard. And like years later, I finally like picked a female doctor, and she was just like my general practitioner. And she's like, Joy, you've tried all these medicines and everything and nothing's helped you. Have you ever given up caffeine? And I was like, no, nobody said anything about caffeine. She's like, well, why don't you just give that a try and see if that helps? Solved it like within days.
Oh
No more
yeah, because
headaches.
caffeine, I think, constricts the blood vessels in your brain.
I mean, yeah, isn't that crazy? So I mean, that's not really part of my awakening, but like, I think we're programmed or conditioned to think that doctors have all the answers, but they're people too. And they're operating off of, you know, just like everybody, they're operating at the level of consciousness that they're at. So yeah, that one doctor telling me it's just because I was a woman and he just threw me a prescription, right? Like, and then asked why I didn't have kids. Like it was very like, oh, it was such a bad bad experience. But
Yeah.
when
The
really the
reason why I
answers
lost
are,
my pardon?
well,
Sorry.
oh no, go for it.
No, sorry, what were you saying?
I don't remember now.
Sorry. No, it's
It's all
just
good.
they don't have all the answers. You're like completely correct. The reason why I lost my legal case was they said that having headaches was a subjective experience. That all of my symptoms were subjective, meaning they couldn't be proven. So they're like, whatever, it's not real. case dismissed. And I was like, fuck you
Oh
guys.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't, my workman's comp got approved, but ironically, the child that injured me, injured my coworker, my friend, and for whatever reason, we both got concussions, but they did not like approve her workman comp. So it was very, I don't know, that's just another danger, I guess, of the workplace, right? Like, granted, I knew there were risks. I worked in a locked mental facility for children that had crazy issues and very tragic stories, and they lashed out every day. And the burnout was really high at those types of jobs, right? Because you get bit, pulled hair, concussions, and everything. So, but yeah, that's just, oh, I'm so glad we're over that phase of our lives.
Yeah. And like we got, I feel almost as if we got pulled out of a burning house. Like we got pulled out of lives that just were not working for us.
That's so true. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I think back to my mental health, like as a, I worked in mental health, right? I did that for like 10 years and I wasn't awakened at the time. I was an atheist actually. But looking back now, that was me using my empathy, using my desire to help and serve, whether I knew it or not. Like that's why I was drawn to that industry, right? I was putting myself through college part-time and working full-time. So I was chipping away at everything. And it's now I still get to help people, but it's in a way that's more aligned with me, there I don't have to worry about getting my hair pulled or bitten, or not that that work isn't important, and I know a lot of people are called to do that, and maybe it's just like me for even like span of years, but that's that's part of finding your not your purpose and what is best for you, because like I said, if I get another concussion, I don't know, it might end up, I don't know. I think it would really hurt my head, obviously, but like it would be very bad because I already have that injury. So yeah, it's a hard path, but it's worth taking, I think. And when you have those injuries, it kind of forces you to stop and rethink. Because I remember you said like you felt like you had to get a job, right? But then with this injury, if people don't believe you or they think it's all in your head or whatever, like it's hard to keep that track going. It was like spirit was just like, nope, we're closing this door for you, Emma, and you are forced to pivot or something.
Yeah, if that had to happen, I probably wouldn't be writing these books. I probably wouldn't be working with people on answering their calling in a way that makes them money and supports their lives. I wouldn't be doing any of this. I would probably just be like, nope, I can stay in a cubicle. I'm fine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I actually hurt my back in, I had to have surgery on my lower back in 2019. And I was essentially, I don't want to say like paralyzed, but I had a walker and everything before my surgery. I couldn't cook for myself. I couldn't even bathe myself. That was probably more aligned to what you were talking about, where it's like, who am I if I can't, like it really causes you to reflect on yourself, and like, if I can't do these simple things, like, well, what's my worth? What am I here for? And that I was awakened then, and going inward was literally the only solution to find that peace and the strength to like keep going. Was it hard for you to kind of in the beginning to turn to meditation, or was it like, hey, we'll just give this a go? Was it hard to like meditate, or did it take you, especially with the headaches and stuff, did it take you a
That
bit
was
to?
really hard. Like my headaches on a scale of 1 to 10 were like a 12, maybe even sometimes like a 20, I felt. And so, like, meditating with all that, even with muscle relaxants and pain pills and everything, it was still there and it was still really jarring. But the other thing was my body and my head were so heavy, I couldn't even get up. So it's like I was just weighted down. So I just meditated anyway through like all the freaking pain of it, and it was like a time that I thought would never freaking end. And now it just feels like it was such a long time ago and it was so far away. But that's really all I could do to bide my time. And it's the only way that could recover any smidge of my own freaking sanity. So I just did it because it was like the only thing that I could really do for myself. Like everything was out of my control to do anything about. That was the only thing I had in my power to do something about.
Wow. No, I so resonate with that because I remember being in the bed. Exactly. The pain was, even with all the medication, it still felt like a 12 at least. I couldn't even imagine what it'd be without those pain meds, right? Like trying to numb it down. And it literally was like, I got to just get through this hour. And it felt like it would never end. But now it was obviously like, what, 2 years, 2 or 3 years ago. So it's like, no, I totally got through that. Like it was just like 3 months of that, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like a lot of us on this path have to go through. I think we signed up for experiences like that,
Sometimes I
to
wonder about that though. Like, did we sign some sort of a soul?
or we missed the route, the easy route. Like, hey, if you learn this now, and we kept on the hard road. So I was like, well, we're gonna put a roadblock because you got to get on track here, little Julie.
That's not even a roadblock. It's like a cliff that I just went off of, like a cliff that I didn't even see coming. It's like I turned and there was a cliff and there I was flying off of it.
No, I get that. It feels like that. But now I'm like, you know what? I've come to a place where I can accept, and it's like I'm glad in a way that that was there to help get me to where I am now. And I don't know, maybe it's all karmic or something. I don't know. I'm not like a guru or anything that knows about all that stuff, but
Well, the interesting thing about karma, though, is it's about balance and harmonization. Karma and dharma both are just balancing forces of the universe. They're just ways that the forces of nature and creation energetically move things back into harmony when they're not. And there's a whole balance to it. Creation and destruction both have a way that they're like harmonizing forces that help to bring together the unified whole.
ooh, Emma, everything you explain, you just do it so well. Like here I am, like karma, like it's that stuff.
Oh my
You're like so like
God.
you just get in the zone. I just love listening to you. Like, oh my gosh.
I love
Yeah.
listening to you too. And I love that I can share with you like this. Like I think there's no other human that I can talk to about what the experience of the brain injury and the awakening was like. And it's like you really know what it was like. You know how sharply that puts everything into perspective and just makes all the bullshit really loud and clear for you too.
Yeah.
I feel like it simplifies your life because you know how hard it was once to even put something down on a counter or a table. So
Oh,
when you
so
get to
true.
make yourself a cup of tea, it's like such a big deal.
Or
Huge
bathe
celebration.
myself.
I made myself a cup of tea. Yeah,
Yeah.
I took a freaking shower and I did
By
all in the shower
myself.
this time.
Yeah. Well, it was very I don't want to say dehumanizing, but like it's just in a place I wouldn't really wish it on anybody, because it's like you're frustrated because you know you can do it, but yet you can't. And it just pisses you off. And I think you get a choice when you're in those situations to stay pissed off and angry, or do like both of us did, thankfully, and like, okay, I gotta push through this there's got to be something I can do, like you said, even if I can't get out of the bed. um, I can meditate. I can go inward. I can pull myself out of this, even if it's just for this hour, you know? And yeah, it really brings a lot of gratitude into my life now, like just thinking back, and I remember my mental state and the pain and everything and the confusion of like why. Because I had a 50% chance my back surgery would work. So I was like, if it doesn't work, I guess I'm in a wheelchair, or I guess this is my new normal, and I have to accept that. And that was a big pill to swallow, right? But
Yeah.
obviously it worked. The surgery worked, and I do have some nerve damage in my leg, but that took a little bit to learn to walk with that. But overall, obviously, I've left the country, America, I've traveled, I've been able to explore. It's been a beautiful process. And I really think it was because I got to that point where I accepted my fate no matter what. And I was like, you know what? Even if I'm in a wheelchair, I can have somebody like drive me to the ocean. And I know there's lookouts where I can just, maybe I can't go on the hiking trail anymore, but I can still get in nature and everything. Cause I lived in Portland, which I know you're right across the river from. So, the nature is everywhere there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like, not giving into that negative thought patterns. So how do you do that now? I'm kind of transitioning here. Like now in your life, you got this awesome business, you're doing cool things. Do the negative thoughts ever like try to get you?
All the freaking time. It's there. It's always lurking. Like, who are you to run this business? Like, you think this is stable? You think this is gonna work out for the long run? Like, what if it doesn't work tomorrow? What if you can't pay your bills? What if you can't pay your rent? Like, you're not working for a company that's giving you a paycheck. I'm like, is that even guaranteed? Like, leave me alone. Stop pestering me. But there's always these insecurities and these doubts, and some people see these images of these successful entrepreneurs or people that they think have made it, and they think, oh, these people must have no insecurities whatsoever, and it's really not true. And living this way is scary, just like continuously scary, because you're trusting something that's bigger than yourself, that is intangible, that you can't prove, you can't see it, you can't show it to anybody, you can't even show it to yourself, you can't just say, show yourself. God, universe, angels, fairy beings, spirit guides. Like, where the heck are y'all? Like, what are y'all doing? And why is this going on in my life? And why do you want me to do this? And why do you want me to work with these people? And where is this all going? Like, you have no guarantees. And to be in a
So
line
true.
of work that gives you no guarantees, that doesn't even just like promise you, like write you out a check and then gets you to go do the thing. Instead, this line of work tells you, go do the thing and then I'll write you a paycheck somewhere along the line. You're just like, what? Are you
Yeah.
serious? And that's what it's like to work with the universe, to co-create. It's a field of uncertainty. The only thing that's guaranteed to you is the uncertainty. And it's like, WTF? Like, are you serious?
Right. Totally. Well, I'm reading right now The Power of Now by that Eckhart Tolle. And I'm like, okay, this is taking it. I feel like I understand the concepts he's talking about, but I'm
Did I
like,
talk to you about that book?
I don't know. The last time we talked about The Power of Eight, which I'm also reading too, because I'm like one of those people that reads multiple books at a time. But that's I just love everything you say, Emma. I can never say that enough. Because it's like, yeah, everything you said, you feel that, right? And it's all, I like that lurking, because for me it's literally like, hey, pay attention, don't you want to worry about me? It literally feels like it's taunting me in the back of my head or something. And on a rare occasion it will kind of, I'll get consumed in it, and then I'm like, wait a minute,
It's
no.
so interesting that you just said that, in the back of your head. That's where your limbic system is. Your brainstem is back here, your amygdala is on the side of your head, and they're in cahoots. You have this whole limbic system that's wired to keep you locked in and safe for survival reasons. So that's actually literally the part of you that just keeps on whispering, like, you're not gonna be safe.
Well,
This
that's
is gonna get
for
all
me,
fucked
that's
up.
where it comes from. I didn't even know all that about my brain, it, but that's probably where the saying comes too, right? In the back of your mind, in the back of your head. And it literally feels like it's lurking back there, like, Joy, pay attention to me. Don't you want to worry about the money? Don't you? Don't you? You know you wanna. Aren't you gonna freak out? Let's think about the future here. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to think about you. Like, I don't think that's the way to go. No offense. You haven't really served me. And I know I need to go on this new path, right? Where I'm trusting and like have faith and all these things. And that's where this power of now, like just focusing in the moment, is really helping me. Because I'm like, Joy, do you have money in your bank account right now to eat and live? Yes. Okay. There you go. Do you have, do you have water to drink? Yes, I do have water to drink. Do you have, are you really secure in this moment? Yes, I'm technically secure in this moment. Yes. Okay, so there you go. And it's like, but
Always a but, right?
there's always that. And you're like, okay, no, I'm not gonna give into it. And now I'm a few chapters into this power now, and he's like, if you can calm those thoughts, you're left with this peace. And I'm like, I've captured that in small moments, but I feel like what he's talking about is living in that peace where those thoughts, they don't bug you as much, or how to dust them off or shove them away easier, which I'm
Yeah.
still learning. Yeah. Uh, but it's becoming more aware. And I think that's really helping me kind of stay on this path, because it's like, I can sense, I don't have proof, but I can sense this is the right path, even though it's scary. To me, it's scary because, like you said, they're like, do the work and the paycheck will come, versus, here's your paycheck for everything. Now go do more work, kind of a thing. And it's a whole new path. And I understand why a lot of people don't want to take it, right? Because, or
I
they'll
didn't.
try it, and then if they don't see the results, they're like, oh, fuck this. Like, I'm gonna go back. And I've had moments tempted to be like, maybe I should just go back to teaching English a few hours a day or something. And it's like, I know that's a backup if I absolutely need it, but it's like, really, I feel like they're like, just stay the course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really hard for me too. There are some times when I really don't want to go back to any contracted positions. I don't want to work with corporations again. I don't even want to work with startups. I don't want to work in any kind of full-time position that's just all about the grind and all about the capitalistic demands. And I just don't want to be in that environment anymore. I wanted to bust the F out of the matrix and just never go back. Yeah.
Yes, totally. Well, there's a lot of freedom, and there's so many positives um, that go along with being your own boss and everything. Yeah, it's a lot of work, a lot of work, but there's
A
also
lot of
some free.
self-support.
Yeah, you got to be your own cheerleader and like employee of the month every month, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just did a live on YouTube a few weeks ago where I talked about celebrating how far you've come, even if, like, for those of us on this path, even though we're not maybe seeing the results we want, we're still putting this energy out there and everything, right? And to me, I feel and sense that it's going to come back. It's going to come back to me. I just may not know exactly how or when, but I can sense that it will. So yeah, it's good to celebrate, and yeah, be your own cheerleader and employee of the month. Because
I
you
can't
work so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emma, where can people find you if they want to follow you and learn more about you?
Well, my YouTube channel is Emma. I have to start that back up. You gave me a really good tip on turning the camera back around because I have this photosensitivity problem with like looking at screens. So I'll try turning that back around and try starting up my YouTube channel again. So that's youtube.com/Emalani. EMALANI. It's my name. It's just a way of like, it's like a term of endearment. You put the word Lonnie on top of your name. It's kind of like Dear Emma. That's me. And then my Instagram handle is Manifest Vibes. My website is manifestvibes.com. So it's all the places where people can find out about me. And if they go to my website, they can sign up for my newsletter and get a workbook that has like a whole bunch of exercises and excerpts from my book to dig into. And get in touch with me. I send out a lot of emails that I channel and I give updates and whatnot about programs and offerings that I have available for people. I also have a podcast. It's the Manifest Vibes podcast. So I can find that at anchor.fm/manifest vibes. And this whole recording will be on that podcast.
Yay! Yeah, and I'll have all your links below too, so everybody can check them out. And just a heads up, your newsletter is amazing. And I love your Instagram because you give away so much good information just on Instagram alone that I think any entrepreneur should be following you just to get that encouragement and get that information, right? Like it's good stuff right there.
Oh yeah, I'm all
Totally.
about like soul-led entrepreneurship, like not about proving anything to the world, not about being the next Steve fucking Jobs, but about being you and blazing your trail and yeah, being an astronaut of life and exploring the unknown, the uncertainty with courage and faith that it's all going to work out for you. I'm all about all that. So if I can just at least, I don't know, like de-yuckify like the sales and the marketing and the business development aspects to make it feel more like it can be wholesome, it can be integrated, it can be true to you. That's really what I want to help people with. So on my Instagram, I do put in that kind of stuff, but I also combine like the spirituality
Yes.
with all of that because that's just a big part of you having access to your personal power and knowing exactly who the fuck you really are because you are a being of creation ultimately. And if you forget that and if you really get confused and lost in the way of the world and you think that you are what you accomplish, you are your doings or you're worth as much as your doings or whatever you accomplish out in the world, you're going to lose your way, you're going to lose touch with who you really are and your real value, your real worth, because everything else will be a reflection of that. Like the way that you are supported in your life and the way that you attract the clients and the business and everything is reflective of you, your worth, like how much you know your worth. And it's not all like there's surface level stuff, but then that's like the tip of the glacier that you can see. It's like a little bit of the tip. And then the big part that's like deep under the water is like, I know that my neighbor went out to Antarctica, so he said that these glaciers can be like huge, like buildings. But there's also like a really huge part that's under the water. And that's our spiritual stuff. That's our subconscious stuff. That's our healing stuff. That's our personal power stuff. So even if we can get really distracted by the surface stuff, the stuff that's deep beneath is really where it's at.
Oh yeah, I love that. To me, that's being an astronaut of life, and like, yeah, just exploring that bottom of the iceberg that's hidden, but not hidden because you can dive in and go explore it, right? And then it's not.
Yeah.
Then you get the answers. That's where the answers are, literally in here. But it takes a bit to figure that out and how to do it. But whew, I love this, Emma. I could talk to you for hours. Yeah, but yeah. So guys, I can attest that Emma has totally helped me kind of change my thinking around marketing and working on my business in that way because for a while I didn't really know how to market, and it made me feel kind of icky to be like, hey, this is what I do, go buy it. And I didn't. I was like, there's got to be another way to put this out there in a way that feels more aligned with me. And Emma's totally I'm talking about you like you're not here, but you've totally helped me overcome that. So I'm very grateful to you, and I'm excited to keep working with you, Emma, because I know I have a lot to learn. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, I'm thankful that we have found each other in this world, that we are connected this way, that wow, we have so much in common. We have so many points where our life paths really intersect and meet.
Yeah.
And you are just such like you're like a freaking comet. You're like a blazing trail of sparkly, fiery, creative goodness. You're just like
I'll take it.
I just love the example that you set in this world of being authentic, being of service to your calling, of answering it with courage and faith, and also bringing like the really beautiful, softer, feminine into your business, and being a business owner and leader who exhibits sensitivity and empathy and intuition, attunement, all this stuff. Like you show the world that you can be this intuitive, soft, goddessy sort of person, and you can kick some major fucking ass. Like those,
Right? Yeah.
my language is a little bit. I sometimes drop the f bombs, but
Me
I just
too.
love that you're showing how it can be done. Like this feminine goddess energy is totally badass and can totally do awesome creative things in the world and be in business and be an entrepreneur and all this stuff. So you can be a soulful entrepreneur, and you're such a great example of that. I just love that about you. Like you really inspire me, and I feel really encouraged by your example.
I just love it. Yeah, because I feel like we're given to each other, you know, energetically and in all the ways, really. But yeah, and that I'm not gonna say it's hard. It was hard to step out of my comfort zone and kind of put myself out there, right, and be more in a leadership role. But I'm easing into it now. It's not as scary now, and it's there. Just because it's scary in the beginning, you have to remember it's not going to stay that way. I've always been the kind of person, obviously I love my country, right? So I'm pretty okay with risk and like, try new things, but it's still scary to me, right? Like it's just because you see me doing it doesn't mean I don't struggle or anything, but that
Or
to me
that
was
the voices that come from the back of your
right, that
head
it's
just
not
aren't
back
coming
there
out
trying to
anymore.
exactly, but to me it's bravery to just do it anyway and courage, and that I'm proud of myself for doing that. So thank you for telling me that, because that really means a lot. Yay. I'll totally have to have you back on, Emma, because I feel like I said multiple times in multiple conversations, you have so much wisdom, and I love hearing it, and I want other people to hear it too, because to me it's
Oh,
for everybody. Yeah.